My name is Salko and I'm one of the co-designers of Tamps, and today I will be talking to you about the card design and the choices we made in the card design. A lot of times when we demo the game, people ask, why did you choose such an abstract style, graphical style for the cards? And why do cards sometimes actually are hard to discern? So why do they look pretty much the same? So there's a very good explanation for this, and I will try to explain this to you today because there was actually a lot of hard work and a lot of playtesting involved in coming up with this final design. So the first thing that I can tell you is, why did we choose an abstract design? Like, for instance, games such as, let's say, Alchemist. They have a whole narrative going on, a whole story. So why didn't we go with a very cool narrative to actually sell the game? Well, we can only explain this by an example. So I will get this little game, Zoom Zoom, and I'll try to use these cards, which are animals. So I have here 2 whales and 2 crocodiles. Let's say they are on the board, so on the center board of Tamps, so everybody can pick them. So I'll see one of my opponents actually picks up a whale. Well, it's easy for me to remember. I instantly have an image of this whale, I know the animal, I've seen it a couple of times, so it's very easy for me to actually remember that one of my opponents actually picked up a whale. So if he does that again, I actually know that he has another whale, and he probably picked up the first one because he already had one, so I already now know that he has 3 whales in his hand. So the same goes for very recognizable other animals like a crocodile or a mouse, everything, more animals perhaps in the deck. So you can easily see that if something is very recognizable, if something has a theme like kittens or pirates or zombies, then the cards instantly become very recognizable, and that means that playing the game on the table usually is more involved with counting cards. So that means there's less social interaction between players, something which we as designers really wanted to have in our game. So at the end, in actually having more social interaction, we decided that we wanted a more abstract theme. So in the beginning we started with crazy designs that it should be more social and everybody should use their ears and all kinds of weird shapes. But we ended up with other kinds of weird shapes which are very different from each other, and we tried hundreds of them, and finally we ended up with this one because it's a very easy geometrical shape. That's one. And secondly, if you have only a few cross lines, you can create much differences. So that's the first thing to actually tell you. So that's the reason why we don't have a big theme going on in Tamps. That's actually a design choice that we made. Okay, for the second part, we actually look into the design of the cards themselves. So right now, Tamps consists of 16 different symbols in 5 different colors, meaning that we have 80 cards. So you can see them here. But the fact is, those 16 symbols, they actually are placed within rows of 4 the same cards, and we like to call them families. And you can actually see that these cards are very similar to each other. So this is because the first card, actually, if you can see that all of the 3 corners are actually empty. But if we take the second card of a family, you can see that the top triangle is filled. With the third card, the top triangle is empty again, but the 2 bottom triangles are filled. And with the last card of the family, you can see that all the triangles on all the corners of the bigger triangle is actually filled. This is true for every family. So you see that in the first row, there's actually all the triangles are empty. The second, the tops are filled. Here the bottoms are all filled, and here all the triangles from all the different corners are filled. This has to do with the fact that you can use this as a kind of a strategy. For instance, if you're collecting this card for your Tamps, you know that this card is most likely to represent this card, or look similar at this card. So you can actually throw off your opponents by not only collecting this, the card you need for getting your Tamps, but you can also collect these cards. This makes it far more difficult for opponents to actually follow your moves, or for instance to start counting your cards. So this family idea in the card design also helps to strategize a bit in the game itself, which in the end also is a lot of fun because you're actually challenging your opponent to actually read every step you do. But it even becomes more difficult because as designers we play this a lot, and we tend to notice that if you play it for a long while, it becomes easier to discern every single symbol. To show you what we've tried to do is, I'll take an old play deck. You see that there's a lot more cards here. And this is because this is a deck of not 80, but actually 125 cards. This means that the 125 deck consists not of 16 cards from 5 different colors, but there's actually 25 cards of 5 different colors. So there's actually a whole family which is added, and for every family there's also an extra fifth card, in which the fifth card is actually all the corners are filled again, only the big triangle in the middle is filled as well. And that is again true for the whole column, so for every single family in there. Okay, so what you can see now is what we've tried to do is that in an existing deck of 16 cards, a Tamps usually means that you have one card in 5 different colors. But we started thinking that what if one card is not present in one Tamps, but is actually present in 2 Tampses? So this means that you cannot, for instance, only collect 5 of the same cards, but you can also collect a family, 5 different symbols, but of the same color. This already, when we play tested this was a lot harder to play, and this is actually already for very experienced players who played a lot. To create it even more complex for really hardcore and really people who want to challenge not only their brains but also their ability to actually count cards, look at each other. It's also possible that every card is also present in another Tamps, which means you can also collect one whole column. So for instance, the first card of every single family, or the second card of every single family. We have play tested this as well, and it's very difficult and very challenging to actually do it. And most of the times, because there are more cards, the rounds also take a little bit longer, but I can tell you it's extremely fun and extremely challenging once you start to get the hang of it and already played a lot of games. As of now, too bad, because of the Kickstarter, we wanted to actually launch with a little bit smaller deck, which is easier for us to produce and better for your, easier to produce and therefore cheaper for you guys. But perhaps we get a lot of support from you guys on Kickstarter, and we might be able to put in some nice stretch goals, who knows. We'll see that at the end. Thank you for watching today. I hope you learned a lot about how Tamps actually works and how we thought about it over the years. And we'll maybe see you around for another designer diary. Thanks. Bye.